Minecraft Hardcore, the game mode where if you die, you lose everything. After a very long time of consideration, I finally decided to start up my own Minecraft Hardcore world. This means if I die, everything is lost. But anyways, hopefully you guys are excited for this journey because I definitely am. So let's go ahead and jump into our Minecraft Hardcore world. This is going to be fun. So here we go. My Minecraft world was loading up. I loaded in, looked around, and it wasn't really the best area. But right away, I spotted some pigs, where therefore I get some food right away, as I knew that would be needed pretty soon. I then started to mine some trees with my hands, because I needed some wood to actually begin crafting. Then I made a crafting table and crafted some tools, as I would need these to fight off some monsters and even just upgrade my tools eventually. I then killed some more animals, so therefore I could get some more food. I gathered up enough food for the time being. I then mined some more trees. Yep. I then ventured off for a little bit as I knew that I wanted to find somewhere where I could settle down and build a house. I then found this little area which was a lake, and I thought that I could make my house over here. It was pretty nice and it was nice and open. So I explored it a little bit more. I then came across some coal in the side of this mountain. I mined it and mined some stone, as therefore I could upgrade my tools. I then crafted a furnace where I could cook the food from which I collected earlier. I then made a stone pickaxe and a stone sword. After that, I then ventured off the area a little bit further. And then I looked over the mountain and boom, there was a village. Later on, I then ventured over to the village as I was looking to see what else I could grab. Maybe some more crops. But then I just found out that it was just a regular old village and it didn't really have anything special except for sleeping villagers. But on the way home, I grabbed some hay as I knew that I could use this for easy food to make bread. I then made my way home safely and grabbed some food. As the day was ending, I started my mine. I even came across my first enemy, a zombie. It was dead too and I was still in the mine. I then got shot by a skeleton and I knew that I needed to run as I literally had nothing to protect myself. I then put myself in the side of this little cave and built an iron sword. I then cooked up the rest of the iron which I did find, and then I crafted some iron armor. I knew I would need this to defend myself. I then went down and took on the skeleton. It was then day 3 when I arrived back up above the mine. After that, I went back down in the mine and I was near dead. I was that close to losing everything in this world, and I did not want to do that. I then healed up and then headed off down through the mine. I was hoping to find some more iron. But then I came across some diamonds. I found 2 diamonds. From day 5 to 8, I just spent my time down in the mine. I found 1 more diamond, which then I could craft a diamond pickaxe. On day 9, I ventured off a little bit further. I wanted to find some more villages and possibly even a sand biome. I then came across a few more villages where I could load up to get some more food. I even took some books as I knew I would need these for the future. Then I came across an abandoned nether portal. I knew I could get some loot from here. I then took the golden block, opened the chest, and I didn't find that many useful things, but I still took them. They were pretty useful. It was becoming the end of day 9 and I settled down for bed. It was now day 10. On day 10, I mined some of the obsidian for easy obsidian. Later on in the day, I ventured off, and then it was day 11. On day 11, I came across this little tower. I wasn't too sure what it was, but as I got closer, it was a pillager base. I took on the pillagers and tried to fight them off, as I knew I could possibly find some good loot from whatever was in the tower. I took them on and was able to defeat them. I freed the iron golem, setting him free from his cage, and then I went up the tower. I found some experience bottles, and that was really it. It was becoming the end of day 11. I needed to make my way home. I was too far away. I was running low on food, so I headed back home. I arrived home safely on day 12, and then I got ready to build my house. It was day 13. I started to gather some materials for my house. I then put them in the furnace to make some glass. I then used my lapis to make some blue dye, therefore I could stain the glass blue. I then headed outside and started working on my base. I then built up with some concrete and put some water over them as I was going to use this for my house. From day 13 to day 16, I worked on my house. I knew that I needed to get this done quickly as I needed a better shelter than a cave. On day 17, I woke up and my house was finished. I knew that I needed to get some decorations, so I quickly made some chests. And then I put them inside of my house to make a little storage area. It was the end of day 17, so I went to bed. On day 18, I got up early again. I got some more materials to build some more chests, but I needed a lot more. Throughout day 18, I ventured off to the close by villages and I grabbed some of their crops. And I also grabbed some hay because I knew that I could get some more food. I also grabbed some more trees. I then got to work on building a farm. I then finished the little enclosure where I could put some animals. I needed to find some cows to put inside, so I ventured off and found some. I then got them all home in their enclosure. With the hay, I then made some bread, but then I got ready for another mining trip. I then head down my mine and started strip mining. I spent a lot of time in the mine. I came across one diamond, but yet I used so many pickaxes. Eventually, I started to find a lot more. Many pickaxes later, I made my way out on day 30. I had 45 diamonds. I then crafted some diamond armor. I crafted my leggings, a helmet, a chest plate, and then some boots. And then I had full diamond armor. For the rest of the day, I wanted to work on my farm. I knew that I needed to build some more. I also realized that I did not have a shield, so I quickly crafted one. I then lit up the area with some torches as I realized I haven't done that yet. I then got to work on my crop farm. I included some water as I didn't want the dirt to dry out. It was then day 31. I wanted to go to the Nether. I got the obsidian from the abandoned Nether portal, and then I built my own Nether portal inside my house. Yes. I then lit the Nether portal, and then I was ready to head to the Nether. I loaded in and I checked my surroundings. It was pretty unsafe with lava on one side and a big cliff on the other. I needed to be careful. I then ventured off a little bit further, exploring the area around my Nether portal. I came across different biomes in the Nether. I then bridged across the lava. I was super nervous here, because if something hit me, I would lose everything. I then made my way into the red forest, and there it was, right in front of me, the Nether Fortress. I then started to make my way up by breaking up beside one of the legs, and then I built up. I then made my way inside of the fortress. I then explored it and I found some good things in the chest. And then I came across the blaze spawners. I knew that I needed to get some blaze rods if I were ever to fight the Ender Dragon. So I took these on. And I was super close to dying. After a while of collecting some blaze rods, I then head off. I had 11, so I was ready. I fought some wither skeletons to see if I could get one of their skulls, but unfortunately, I didn't. I then collected some glowstone so I could decorate my house with it a little bit nicer. And then I started to head my way back home. I also collected some quartz to decorate my house with. It was then day 35, so I made my way back to the portal. As soon as I got back home, I went upstairs and crafted some quartz. I knew that I could decorate my house a little bit nicer. I then made my chest room a little nicer. I realized that I needed a lot more chests, so I went down and got a lot more wood. I then smelted some leftover gold and iron that I had. And then I placed down the rest of the chests. After that, I needed some more quartz, so I went back in the Nether. I was then getting shot up by a ghast. I was pretty scared. I was super close to dying. Literally 3 hearts. And I did not want to lose at this point. Luckily, I survived. Right after that happened, I went back home and crafted an unnecessary amount of crafting tables. I wanted to make a villager farm, so I quickly headed off to the close by villages. I got some villagers in a boat, so therefore I could transfer them home, and this was a real struggle. I knew this was going to take a long time, but I knew it would be worth it to get some enchanting books. I even had to go through some mountains, as I knew that I couldn't go uphill in a boat. It was a struggle. It was then day 41, and I made my way home. I made a little house where I could then keep the villagers. I then went back into my house, decorated a little bit more, and went to bed. It was now day 42. On day 42, I went back into Nether as I needed more quartz. After spending 2 days in the Nether collecting quartz, I made my way back and I then decorated my house even more. Then made a golden helmet, as I was going to go back in the Nether and trade with some of the piglins. I thought that this could be an easy way of collecting some ender pearls, but I thought wrong. It was very hard to get ender pearls out of them. And all it gave me was junk. I then arrived at the same forest as I was at earlier, as I knew that a load of endermen were spawning here. I then gathered up 19 ender pearls. I then made my way home, crafted some blaze powder, which then allowed me to craft some Eye of Enders. And there we are, we were ready to try find the fortress. I then threw my Eye of Enders, which would guide me towards the fortress, and then I went the way that they told me to. After a few days of venturing off, I threw on and it went straight down. I knew that I was at the fortress. I then mined straight down, which brought me straight to the fortress. I then explored the fortress trying to find the portal. I came across some chests but didn't really have anything in it. And then I turned the corner and there was the portal. I then defeated the silverfish and destroyed the spawner. And boom, there it was, the ender portal. I only had 5 Eye of Enders left. I then quickly put them in, but I knew that I would need to be back here pretty soon. I then built the staircase to the surface for an easier access. Then it was day 50 and I made my way back home. I got home and then I stored everything away in a chest, which I did no longer need. After that, I then ventured off to a close by village to therefore try get more villagers for my villager farm. It took me 2 days transferring one other because it was just a struggle. It was so hard to get him over. But we finally did it. I then realized that I didn't have an enchantment table, so I went ahead and made one. I then placed it inside of my house just for the time being. I then got to work on a little villager trading area. I knew that the temporary one wasn't going to do it. I then moved the villagers over to it after I just finished. So this took a little bit of the time because I had to get a lot more villagers to fill up the area. I finally just got one in and then I turned him into a librarian. And I was lucky enough to even find a mending book, which took me so long. I then kept on trading as I needed a lot more emeralds to actually get the mending book, as I didn't want his trade to run out. I then finally traded for one and it was successful. The next day, I then built a little shelter for the villager trading area, because I knew that if mobs would drop down, it could kill them. Later on in the day, I then started to work on a little bunker underneath my house. I knew I wanted to build something cool. And then I finally finished it on day 64, and then I placed on my enchanted table. I also placed on an anvil. And then I enchanted my first diamond pickaxe. It was a pretty good enchant. I then enchanted the rest of my armor at level 30. I then enchanted my boots, then my leggings, and then my chest plates. They weren't the best enchants, but I knew I could take it. And there we had full enchanted diamond armor. After that, I then put mending on my pickaxe, as I knew that I would need to use this if I were to keep the pickaxe forever. I then went to the Nether for the next 18 days trying to get a ton of XP. I finally made my way home and I made god armor. This took me super long to make, and the armor was literally insane. I had a very good bow, a very good sword, and everything was awesome. I was now ready to fight the Ender Dragon. On day 87, I made my way down to the fortress where I could fight the Ender Dragon. I then placed the remainder of the Ender Rise. And then the last one was placed. I then jumped right into the end, and there we were, in the end. I then quickly bridged my way over to the mainland as I did not want to fall. As soon as I made my way over, I took on some of the towers and I destroyed little beams. I destroyed the towers one by one by building up to them or just shooting them with an arrow. I was even super close to dying at one point, literally close to losing everything on day 88, but I luckily survived. On day 89, I then defeated the Ender Dragon. I then hit the egg so therefore I could grab it and bring it home, and there we had the Ender Dragon egg. I then ventured off trying to find the End City portal. I didn't want to take it on yet, so I went home. I then jumped into the portal, and then there we were, we defeated Minecraft. Once I made my way home, it was day 90. I went ahead and put down the dragon egg, and I accidentally hit it. I then mined the nether portal, and then built it downstairs so therefore it would be a lot cleaner. I then built this little area for the ender dragon egg, just as a little memoriam. It looked pretty cool. It was now the end of day 90. Then it was day 91. On day 91, I went back in the nether. I wanted to find my first piece of netherite, so I just kept on mining and mining, hopefully to find my first piece. I was going for a very long time, and I only just came across my first ever piece, but luckily it was a 3 stack. This took me super long to find, so I went ahead and mined it, and there we had our first piece of netherite. On my way home, I ended up running into another piece, but therefore I brought it home and then I made them into netherite scrap. I then put them inside a crafting table where therefore I made a netherite ingot. And then I made a netherite pickaxe. And then I looked outside and then it was becoming the end of day 100. I went up to my roof and sat there and watched the sunrise. And it was now day 101.